Hello and welcome to our training on supporting language development using Colourful Semantics. We are from the Speech and Language Therapy team based in Barking and Dagenham. My name's Beth. I'm a speech and language therapist working across the borough.
Hi there, my name is Wing. I'm one of the speech and language therapists based in Barking and Dagenham.
Hello, my name is Jamie. I'm a speech and language therapy assistant based in Barking and Dagenham.
So today we're going to be going through the following sections. So what may language difficulties look like? We're going to talk about the importance of using visuals. We're going to look at the Colourful Semantics colour coding system and try out using this ourselves. We're going to identify goals for the children that you work with. We're going to let you know who you can go to for some help if you have any difficulties, and also signpost you to some useful resources. If you feel unsure about what speech, language and communication needs are and would like to have a recap, we suggest you watch the following training videos. What are speech, language and communication needs and creating a quality communication environment, and setting targets for children with SLCN. These will provide you with a good foundation to build on first. You can always come back to this video when you're ready, and we'll leave the links for those videos in the drop-down box below. Before we move on, you need to check you have the equipment ready for this training. So you'll need paper, pen, colouring pens, and the following colours: orange, yellow, green and blue. Please pause this video whilst you collect the equipment and press play when you're ready. If you feel like you need a bit more time throughout any of the following slides, you can always hit the pause button to give yourself a bit more time. A lot of children have SLCN, so speech and language communication difficulties, but we're going to be focusing on language difficulties specifically today. Children you work with who have language difficulties may use an unclear or incomplete sentence structure. They may have difficulties learning and using different vocabulary. So they might use really overly general action words, such as the boy is doing the bike. They might have difficulties with remembering and using specific curriculum vocabulary that you've been using in class. Children may also have difficulties extending their sentences. So they might have difficulties with adding some extra elements. For example, the boy is riding the bike in the park. They may also have some trouble joining their ideas together and building sentences in order to share stories. Children can sometimes have difficulties answering questions or generating a clear response to a question. And they might have difficulties using the above skills within their written language and also their ability to understand when they're reading. You probably already recognise some of these difficulties within the children you work with already, and you might be thinking of some particular children where you can identify some of these challenges. So why are visuals helpful? Visuals are really, really useful, and we can even see that here when I'm using a visual to help you understand why. So visuals are permanent, whereas our words disappear really, really quickly. Visuals stay there and give us more time to process what they mean. That means they give us more time for language processing, and they help children see what you mean, so they can help with comprehension as well as using language ourselves. They help build independence, so instead of you saying, okay, add another bit to that sentence, they can have just a visual cue to remind them to do that. They're transferable between environments and people, so you can use visuals in class, but you can also use visuals at home. They have no attitude, so sometimes we might accidentally have a bit of tone in our voice, come on, extend that sentence. But visuals don't have that attitude, they're really neutral. And because of that, they help reduce anxiety.
Okay, what is Colourful Semantics? Colourful Semantics is a visual colour-coded scheme. It is widely used to support children to understand and use language. The scheme gives a specific colour code to different parts of the sentence. We will focus on the foundations of a sentence, which are who, what doing, to what, and where, also known as the subject, verb, object location. Later on, you can add more advanced colour coding to develop more description and join ideas. We've made a couple of examples for you to have a look at, but before we move on, you may want to press pause to make a note of the colour scheme or rewind when you create this sentence. Okay, so we've got a picture here. So let's try colour coding this short phrase. The lady is talking on the phone.
You may wish to pause the video here to write and then code your answer. So as you can see here, we have now coded the picture. So we've looked for the who in the picture, and that is the lady. So we've coded that with orange for who. We've looked for our action word or our verb, and we can see that is talking. So we've coded that in yellow. And then our what, and we've coded that in green as the phone.
Another picture here. Let's try this one. The man is dancing. So the man is in orange, is dancing is in yellow. Let's try adding more details such as to what and where. Okay, the man is dancing to music at a party. So we can create more advanced sentences. We have put suggestions of more details to describe how, which is the adjective in purple, when, the time phrase, which is in brown, and how, adverbs, which are in black. Connectives you can see are in pink here.
So here we have a slightly more complex example with two people. So have a go at this example. So as we can see, we've done exactly the same with our who in orange, our yellow as our action word or our verb, and in green we have our what. So the girl is throwing the ball and the boy is catching the ball. But what's really important here is we've included a joining word, so and, to bring those two phrases together in pink.
So how does Colourful Semantics support children's learning and communication?
So you can see Colourful Semantics is an excellent visual strategy for language development. It teaches the possible structure of sentences using colour coding and question words. And since it uses question words to prompt, it helps to develop and consolidate the understanding of WH questions such as who, what, where, and when. Why is another question word that is covered when connectives are worked on in the future. This strategy can be used for both spoken and written language, and we will show some examples towards the end of the presentation. So have a think about the children you work with and who will benefit. Perhaps you work with children who are using single words and not yet joining words, children with a reduced vocabulary, children that might struggle with word order. Perhaps you're working with children learning English as a second or additional language. Colourful Semantics, as we said before, are really suitable for visual learners, and that's pretty much all of us. So this slide gives a short overview of the steps to take when you introduce colour coding. Don't worry too much about remembering all of these steps. You can pause this video and review step by step. At the end of this training, we have also included a very useful video which goes through implementing this strategy, but I can give you a brief overview now. So, show the young person an action picture and ask them, what is happening? If the child says, boy eating, we can think about stepping up to extend their sentences by adding boy eating apple. If the child has a limited vocab, you may wish to work at the level they're currently on. So for example, if the young person says boy apple, you may wish to work on the verb eating. Verbs are really important because they give the meaning to the sentence, and children need to get a range of verbs in order to begin using lots of different sentences.
So here I'm going to give you some examples of using colourful semantics. So today we're going to be working on a who, what doing, what sentence, and I've given my child a few different options of words that they could use. You might want to change the number of options that you give the child depending on their level and how overwhelming they might find those choices.
And you may want to just give your child the sentence strip with the colours if they're really confident on using the colours and the vocabulary. So I'm going to present my child with an action picture. Oh, who is in the picture? And we can see it is the boy. What's the boy doing? The boy is cutting. What is the boy cutting? The apple. And I'm going to encourage my child here to use the full sentence. Wow, the boy is cutting the apple. Good job. And I'm going to include a motivating element for the child to make it more interesting and engaging. So I've decided to use a post box. Should we put the picture in the post box? Post! Well done, good job. So as you can see, I'll do that again for you. And here we've got another action picture. Wow, the teddy is eating the ice cream. How silly. Well done, good job. We can put Teddy's picture in the post box. Well done. So I'm going to be sure to use lots of praise and encouragement and remember to remodel that sentence. The teddy is eating the ice cream. We know that colourful semantics can be a bit tricky at first, so we've put even more examples in the description below. But we find that one of the most helpful ways to learn is just to give it a go yourself.
Now let's have a think about how to adapt the framework to use at the right level for your child. Have a think about the skills the child already has. They might already have a lot of nouns, so you might consider adding in verbs. They might be able to create a short sentence, so you might consider adding in more description. Or perhaps they might need support to join their ideas together to create a story. You can think about stepping up to increase the level of difficulty if you can see the child is developing their confidence and is able to use the target vocab. But also think about stepping down if you can see the child experiencing some difficulties in using target vocab. You can find out more details about stepping up and down in our other training on setting targets. So once you've decided on next steps, you can think about creating goals in which the adult will help the young person to reach for. Remember, you'll need to use the visuals that we talked about before consistently to help the child to learn. So here on the slides, we've provided some suggested goals and resources. Here we have some more goal ideas and suggested resources. You might wish to pause the video here and have a think about the ideal goals for your child.
Okay, so let's have a think about supporting strategies that can help the use of colourful semantics. So you might want to use colour cue cards to establish the colour link by explaining what each colour card represents and what question it answers. For instance, if you're working on who, then explain to the people that who words are orange. We might want to use Makaton signs for the main components of who, what, where, and where else is appropriate. Start off with only 2 options under each part of the sentence. So some children may have difficulty structuring their sentence, so we can prompt them with questions. So who is in the picture? And we might give them 2 options, so a dog or a cat. And what are they doing? Are they running or jumping? As the child becomes more confident with colourful semantics and also more able to distinguish those things apart, then we can add some more options. We can also recast to provide a model. So if a child says, oh, the boy is jumping, we might add to that, oh yes, the boy is jumping on the trampoline. It's really important that we remain positive and upbeat when we're doing this, as we know that the child's trying really, really hard and we want to celebrate that. So here are some further examples for you. So we might also write the small words, so those tricky words like is, a, and the on the sentence strip, as we can see at the bottom there, to support the child to use them. And again, we're going to be using lots of praise, encouragement, and reinforcement. And just to give you some more information on those Makaton signs that we just discussed. So they're really simple and easy. We have who, bringing our finger round a little circle, doing, knocking our hands together, what, and our fingers going side to side, and where. Over the next few slides, we have a range of activities and ideas for you to embed colourful semantics across the school day. These are just some ideas to get you going, and we know that parents and teachers are some of the most creative people. So don't let these ideas box you in. Take colourful semantics and run with it. Introduce it wherever you can. Some of the ideas we have here are sentence strips, which can be used across the class. You can use a colour-coded mind map to introduce new topics, new vocabulary, or support story comprehension. In addition to introducing new words when creating sentences, we can focus on individual words using this word map. We know that this is really useful because we learn words by linking them to the knowledge that we already have. So creating a word web like this is really helpful to support children to remember those words. There are also pictures within our favourite storybooks, so we can use colourful semantics alongside stories to support our children to talk about the story. To do this, you might want to prepare a laminated colour-coded sentence strip or use a whiteboard to jot down some keywords. You can use this again and again, but if you don't have a whiteboard, that's okay. You can just use some scrap paper to write down what you're doing. Okay, so we can use colourful semantics to describe pictures, predict what's going to happen next, recall and tell what's already happened, summarise what's happened in a story, demonstrate our understanding of the text within the story, answer some WH questions, sequence pictures together, and also use a range of different conjunctions, so linking words like and, then, next, because, to link our sentences together. Okay, we can also use the same colour coding system for alternative and augmented communication. So AAC helps someone to communicate as effectively as possible in as many situations as possible. So here we can see some examples of using colour coding where children benefit from AAC. So for example, we might have a communication board, so Oliver, jump fast. So we can use these resources to help our children extend their sentences, and you can also even keep these phrases on a lanyard and stick them to areas or objects where children frequently are requesting. So for example, with this box, you can see that we're not just asking someone to open, we're asking Beth open. We might stick these to doors as well. We can also create motivating activities and add visuals to these, such as puzzles, games, talking about the weekend or talking about our holidays. We just wanted to emphasise that we can use colourful semantics across the whole curriculum. So wherever children need to form sentences, writing, reading, speaking, we can be using colourful semantics. So you can see the below examples are from geography and from history as well. And there's lots of online resources to help you.
Okay, so hopefully this overview of Colourful Semantics gives you the confidence to try this out at home and at school. Well, who can you go to for help or advice? So if you're a parent, please do approach the school SENCO for any queries that you might have. If you are a teacher or a teaching assistant, please do come to SENCO or your link therapist at the school. And for SENCOs, please speak to your speech and language therapist for any queries you might have. Okay, so Colourful Semantics does cover a lot of really brilliant visual strategies, but there's also some things to think about. It does not cover everything. So for example, syntax, like tenses, prepositional verbs and plurals. Also have a think about, does your setting use another colour scheme already? If so, please make sure you use the consistent colour coding scheme that you already use. Think about, how do you create ongoing opportunities for spontaneous language? How do you support the child to generalize what they have learned in your session? Also, something to think about is that once the child has established a consistent use of a target word, there might be occasions where that word might change their function in the sentence. So we've given an example here now where a surprise can change the function from being a noun, an object, to maybe a verb in a different sentence, and so forth.
Okay, and thank you for joining today's workshop. Please find more ideas on resources, helpful Facebook groups, and practical video examples on the next few slides.
All links will be available in the description below. Thank you.